believe there is a genuine idea behind the architecture of this project. So what is the philosophy behind the design?
Gian Piero Pugliese, who owns Audax, he's one of the top architects. He's really a world-class architect. He's based out of Toronto. He's one of the top architects in the city. So his design philosophy is called human architecture. He's writing a book about it. You know, this is a gentleman that teaches at the University of Toronto. He studied at Harvard. He studied at Berkeley College in California. So Ivy League student before starting his practice and doing some of the most unique and characteristic homes in the GTA and doing incredible projects in Italy and Europe. So the human architecture, that's his philosophy, is this blend between traditional and modern architecture, and it fits in perfectly within this neighborhood with the heritage transition zone. And people look at the building and they come to us and they say, it's incredible. You know, it's like, we don't know if this is New York, is it Europe, but it's certainly different from everything else that's in Toronto, which is important, right? To have something unique like this that stands out in the long run. You know, it's recognizable from purely an investment, never mind living in something beautiful like this, but from purely an investment standpoint.
For myself, it reminds me of a lot of principles, design principles of Eastern architecture.
Yes.
And which blended nicely with the modern architecture in Toronto. In your opinion, what makes 101 Spadina an excellent choice for both homeowners as well as investors?
Well, I mean, to start with, if you look at the top condo transactions in terms of dollar value in the city, there's two clusters of high density condo transactions. One's in Yorkville, as you can imagine. The other one's here in the entertainment district, because this is where the fun is. The entertainment's here, there's shopping on Queen, the restaurants, the highest density of hotels on King Street in the country. And you're walking distance to the financial district. Here in the Heritage Conservation District, you have all of these tech companies that are setting up shop in these beautiful old heritage brick and beam loft buildings. And so you have a lot of high income earners that are living here or in close walking distance. And if you think about someone to resell to in the future, and you have something unique like this that stands out with its design, or someone to rent to as an investor, if you're an investor and you're renting it out, you're in an area where you have some of the most demand in the city and some of the most high-end clientele and the highest-end condos. So it's Yorkville or it's here, essentially. And the other thing is, it's very important to note that the philosophy that Devron has here and their thesis is one that really benefits investors. When you cater to end users, it's a better building for investors. And when you do less suites in the building, because you're doing larger average suite sizes, it's a better building because it's more exclusive, there's less competition on the resale market, but they're also saving all of this money from the extra units, the extra kitchens, the extra bathrooms, the extra taxes to the city, and they take all of that savings and they're reinvesting it into making it this special building with this world-class architecture, with everything that goes in behind the walls, all the systems that make this building a better building to live in, the materials that are going to age better over time, which all makes it a better investment. But it doesn't cost you more, right? If you look at any other pre-construction condo in the city right now, for the most part, if you're doing a 40-story tower, it has 600 units, not 350, right?
That's right.
And so you'll get a higher-end architect here, better finishes, better mechanical systems to the building, unobstructed views, the natural sunlight, but you're not paying the premium for all of those extra things because Devron is saving all this money by doing half as many suites, which is also good for the end user because it's less supply on the market. They're taking that money and they're putting it back into the building. You see? So for the same total investment amount as you would get for investing in a building with twice as many units, the same height building with mid-market finishes, you get a much higher quality building. And so you're investing at the same level as every other mid-market building, but when you sell in the future, you're selling something that's much better in the future. And if you look at the past buildings that Devron has done, like the Winslow at Yonge and Lawrence, or the Vanguard, for example, at Yonge and Steeles, like that's known as one of the nicest buildings north of the 401, you'll see they trade way above the secondhand market on the resale market. But the investors that invested in them pre-construction, they weren't paying a big premium to get a better quality product, but they get the premium when they sell it. So that's the beauty of this philosophy here. You get such a high quality product, but you're not paying more for it, but you benefit from it when you resell it.
Yes, exactly. I remember I read it somewhere 90% of the Toronto's population believing that we need better condos. And I believe that's the vision of Devron. And
Yeah. You're
They're
right.
doing an amazing job.
Yeah, Devron commissioned a study. It was by one of the largest data research firms in North America. And they surveyed people's satisfaction with the architecture, the design, quality of condos in the city.
How do you see the future in terms of the occupancy of 101 Spadina?
Well, occupancy for 101 Spadina, let's say it's 2029, right? That means that, this area is changing, right? Over the next 4 years or so, the area continues to grow. This is the fastest growing neighborhood in North America.
And there's a new line as well.
This transit's a big deal. Some people will invest in pre-construction projects knowing that it's going to take a few years for the project to be built. And meanwhile, the construction of this transit infrastructure is on the way. Well, this is the first time that in like 60 years that new subway stations are coming to downtown Toronto. So just by owning in this area close to the subway, you're going to benefit from being only 2 minutes walk away from a new subway station that's coming shortly, just a few years after this building is done. There's a new GO train as well. It's the first one coming downtown Toronto aside from Union Station. And that's only a 7-minute walk away. The population growth of the neighborhood. So the future of this location is very good.
By looking at the current state of the market, what are the advantages for the homeowners or investors to purchase 101 Spadina?
Toronto is such a hot housing market. There's so much demand for the city, right? Like we have an incredible immigration strategy as a country. Toronto's the fastest growing city in North America. And so it's very rare that a city like this takes a pause and the real estate market pauses. But when you increase interest rates, that's what happens, right? It pauses. And so people don't need to invest in pre-construction condos right now. So they're not, right? Because interest rates are high.
That's right.
Barber shops are at half capacity. There's no IPOs happening. Restaurants are, even the restaurant business is different because people are saving money. But, if there's no pre-construction condos being delivered 4 years from now, then there's going to be a huge housing shortage 4 years from now. Meanwhile, we're the fastest growing city in North America. So the advantage is that you can enter the market now with something really special like this, and it gets delivered 4 or 5 years from now in a completely different market, right? All the banks are projecting that interest rates are coming down.
Yeah.
Right? As interest rates come down, there's a direct correlation between real estate transactions in Toronto and interest rates. As they come down, transactions go up. And then as interest rates come down, pricing goes up too.
Thank you so much, Charles, for sharing all these insights about 101 Spadina. I truly think this project is a true landmark, and it brings new settings of standards for innovation and excellence in Toronto real estate landscape.
Thank you, Mo. On behalf of the builder, it's really a pleasure working with you always. You're a true professional, very experienced, and we love to prioritize you and your clients with every project we do. Thank you so much.
Thank you. My pleasure.